Yes. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Life Matters with Anu Adejiri. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. I'm super grateful. Thank you for joining on the show today. And for those that listen to us on our podcast, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on all our social media platforms. Thank you very much for always tuning in. God bless you real good. My name is Anu Adedire, and this is Life Matters with Anu Adedire, where we talk about different life topics and literally different life matters that affect each and every one of us all. And yes, so today I'll be starting the show. Just before I start the show, there's this song I really like, and I think that I'm going to play this song first before I start up the show. So it is the song is titled, it's not an English song, so if you go on YouTube, I hope and I believe that probably moving forward, a lot of like Nigerian gospel artists will start transcribing or giving captions or subtitles to their songs so that it will be what do you call it? But there's a lyrics for it, so I will check out lyrics and see if it has a subtitle. But it is called Chinedum by Mercy Chinwo. So yes, let's enjoy this amazing song. And while we do that, let's welcome everyone that has come around or is gonna come around. Awesome. Chinedum. Come on, Jesus, hey, you never leave me nor forsake me, hey, come on, me I go follow you to go, anywhere you lead me I go go, Jesus, come on, my life is for your glory, your glory. Come on, hey, you are taking me higher, hey. You never leave me nor forsake me, hey. You are taking me higher. Your glory, you make the little things I do be like saying a big thing, no. Your grace make a difference, just to embarrass me, oh. I like it, oh. Hey, I like the way you did it, hey. Come on. Promotion everywhere, contracts everywhere. Come on. Yes. Come on, hey. I like the way you let me go. You are taking me higher. Hey, come on. Hi, Taiwo. The vein, me I go follow you to go, anywhere you lead me I go go, Jesus, thanks Taiwo, my life is for your glory, your glory, be like saying a you know. Your grace make the difference, just to embarrass me, oh. I like it, oh. Hey, hey, hey. I like the way you did lead me, oh. Hey. I love this song. Can we like listen to it one more time? Just one more time before we start the show. I love the song a lot, guys. Hey. Hey. Come on. Me, I will go. Hey. The way, the land, the life. Jesus, you never leave me nor forsake me. Hey. Except you build the house, the builders build the vein. Me, I go follow you to go. Anywhere you lead me, I go go. Jesus, hey. My life is for your glory, your glory. Except, hey, you were taking me higher. You never leave me nor forsake me. Hey. You are taking me higher. You make the little things I do be like saying nothing, no. Your grace make a difference, just embarrass me, oh. I like it, oh. I like the way you done hit me, oh. Promotion everywhere. Amen. Contract everywhere. Plenty money everywhere. 'Cause you done lead me every day. I say I like it, oh. I like the way you done hit me, oh. She never do more. She never do more. Come on, the builders build in vain. See, I don't go, allow you to go. Anywhere you lead me, I could go. My life is for your glory, your glory. Glory. amazing Chinedum by Mercy Chinwo. That's an amazing song from her album that she released, I believe, last year or 2 years ago. So y'all should go grab it. I believe it's 2 years ago, 2018. So y'all should go grab it. And I believe that she's going to release a brand new album this year. So y'all should go grab it. And there's so many albums that are coming out this year. I know that one of my favorite big brothers, Jumbo Anna, is going to have his album launch April. So go cop it, go get it. It's an amazing song. How we all doing today? Welcome to Life Matters with Anu Adedire. And today I'm going to be sharing something very close to my heart, and I believe that it's very important for each and every one of us to actually understand the reason why I'm sharing this thing. And next week is going to be amazing because I'm going to be having a very, 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 very special guest of mine. I've I've loved this person since forever, since probably I was young, and I can't wait to have her. So let's put our hands crossed and yeah, so next week we're going to be having an amazing guest who's going to be talking about legacy, and I am very sure that a lot of people will not be expecting who I'm going to have on the show. So let's wait till then. But today I'm going to be talking about creating a performance. And you'll be asking me what I mean by creating a performance, because a lot of times people feel like, oh, you know, it's just good to when you come to the house of God or when you're doing things for God, you should just be yourself. But sometimes you have to just put a little bit of swag, and you have different things people actually say when it comes to service to God and all the likes. And today I want to kind of, should we say, rewire your mindset about when it comes to service to God and when it comes to you just being yourself in the presence of God and being yourself when it comes to just serving God. And a lot of times people think that, oh, but there's an expectation of how I should behave, how I should act, how I should this, how I should that, and we'll come to that aspect. But first off, we'll be talking about a particular song that caught my attention. I believe that I talked about this song a couple of weeks ago on Life Matters with Anu Adedire, the Instagram page. And it's a song called Perform by Travis Green. And the song said, get it right every day, do it perfect, and they will love me, they will want me back. If I make no mistakes, a performance that's perfect for the crowd, you'll be proud of me, right? So in my head, I'm like, who are we performing for? Is it a crowd? Is it God? Who was he talking to? And it was like a conversation to God that he gets it right every day. If he's perfect, they will love him. They want him back. And they feel like, oh, you know what? I don't make any mistakes. I don't do anything wrong. And for him, a performance that's perfect for the crowd will make God proud. And I think about it for 1 minute, that how long as each and every one of us been creating a performance for the crowd, and we haven't thought about how God feels about those things we do? How much have you tried to just please your pastor, or please your boss, or please your friend, or please your family members, and God isn't actually happy with what you're doing? So if you take 1 minute to think about it, in my head, I'm thinking that God doesn't need me to perform, because the chorus now says, but you don't need me on stage to love me. No matter the place, your heart will be true. When I'm afraid I'm not good enough and I don't know what to do, truth is, I don't have to perform for you. Now, a lot of times, guys, my brothers, my sisters, my friends, my mommies, my daddies, whenever and wherever you're going to watch this, God's relationship with us hasn't come to a point where you have to create a facade. You have to create this ambience of, God needs me to be perfect. God needs me to be this. God needs, The way he loves us is that no matter where and how unworthy you might feel, no matter how much you've made mistakes in your past and you feel like, oh my God, I can't even say this to human beings. He's saying that he doesn't even need you to be on the spotlight. He doesn't even need anything from you for him to love you. And one person you don't have to perform for is God. You know, the funny thing is, he knows the content of your heart before you even think about it. Like, take a look at it for 1 minute. He said, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you and I predestined. Like, I knew before that sperm made contact with the egg and formed you that are watching me right now. Do you know that God actually had a purpose and plan for your life? He actually had everything figured out. He actually knew how you were gonna be from your childhood to you being an adult. Like, he knew everything, right? So let's come back to the place of where we have actually put men like this and we've put God like this. Where what people say to you matters a lot more than who God has called you to be. Do you understand me? So when he says, God doesn't need you to be on that stage. Like, if you're a singer, if you're a preacher, God doesn't need you to be on that stage to actually love you. He doesn't. Because no matter where you are, no matter where your heart is, when you are afraid and you feel like you're not good enough, just like the prodigal son, one true thing is that you don't have to perform for God. The reason why I'm starting with these lyrics is because by the time I go into the text that we're going to review today, you understand what I'm talking about. And now verse 2 says, cue the light center stage. It's the moment that they will see me. They will want me back. Every word that I say, every note must be read for the crowd. You'll be proud of me, right? And the question is, will God be proud of you? All those decisions you made because you want to feel and look cool before people. All those things you've said, all those things that are work, instead of making your stand and making your stand known to people that this is what God has said about me, this is what I believe as a Christian, as a child of God, because you want them. You know, a lot of people have done it before. They play on the emotions of others. And why? Because they want them to like them. And the question is, will God be proud of you, right? But he doesn't need you to be on stage to love you. He said, but you don't need me on stage to love me. No matter the place, you have to be true. When I'm afraid that I'm not good enough, I'll keep my eyes on you. In spite of my mistakes, you want me. Rid of shame and get me your truth. When I'm afraid that I'm not good enough and I don't know what to do, truth is, I don't have to perform for you. You don't have to perform for God. You don't have to create a camouflage for God. Now, today we're going to be talking about the life of Anna. And to be very sincere, when I thought about this topic, I'm like, we will get what I'm saying, but I know that right now you might not understand, you might not get it, you might never be going through it at the moment, but maybe a couple of months down the line, couple of weeks, couple of years down the line, when you think about it, you're like, oh, I remember this lady saying it on her show, and I remember that when she was talking about it, it sounded like gibberish to me until I sat down and looked at it and I'm like, wow. So we're going to be looking at 1 Samuel chapter 1. And from verse 1 to 10, we're going to do like a quick read. So there was a certain man, I'm just going to minimize my screen so that I can read. Okay, there was a certain man from Ramathaim, a Zuphite, from the hill country of Ephraim, whose name was Elkanah, son of Jeroham, the son of Eliu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, an Ephraimite, right? And he had two wives. One was called Anna and the other Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Anna had none. Year after year, this man went up from his town to worship and sacrifice to the Lord Almighty at Shiloh. So we understood that Elkanah was someone that knew the Lord. He worshipped God. There was an importance. There's an importance he has placed on when it comes to worship to God, and he didn't just do it alone. He carried his family along. So the question is, as a man, as the head of your home, do you actually carry your children, your family to that place of worship, to that place of sacrifice when it comes to God, or you're always very busy when it comes to the things of God? Because your kids are watching you, people. Okay, so where Ophni and Phinehas, the sons of Eli, were prophets of the Lord. Whenever the day came for Elkanah to sacrifice, he would give portions of the meat to his wife Peninnah and all her sons and daughters. But to Anna, he will give double portion because he loved her, and the Lord had closed her womb. Now, for you, you would think that if this man was serving God for so many years, if he was doing everything, if he was worshiping God, why will God close Anna's womb? So it means that sometimes when we give the devil accolades about things that go on in our lives, we are doing ourselves a disservice because we're just giving the devil credit for what he doesn't deserve. Because if Anna, let's imagine Anna is in 2020 now, she'll be saying, oh, the evil in my family that has not made me have children. But the truth is that God closed her womb. So it was God's prerogative. Do we know why? Nope. But that was what God chose to do. So there's some things that happen in your life where God actually has taken his time and has said, because I am God, I am doing this, and he alone is the one in charge of it. But now you're giving the devil credit for it. Okay, so let's go to verse 6. And because the Lord had closed her womb, her rival kept provoking her in order to irritate her. So, you know those people that will always be around you and will just want to frustrate your destiny. It's not just you. It's not just you. It's not just you. Anna went through the same thing. And like Anna went through it and she lived in it. It's not that she went through. I think she lived in it because every day, you know how Anna, let's imagine Anna living in, let's say Lagos, right? And this is Elkanah. Elkanah loved Anna more, right? And all these things were happening to her, and she wants to probably go and buy something. And she's like, oh, let's say that the name of Penina's probably last born is Temilade. Oh, or let's say James. Oh, James, please, can you help me get... Penina will come out. Hey, witch, don't kill my children. At least you've killed all the eggs inside your... We know now that is how she'll respond. Because the Bible says that she provoked her every time. She will intimidate her. She will irritate her. She will do everything that will make her think about, God, why haven't I had a child? And in my mind, I'm thinking, what would I have done if God closed my womb and there's this person, this sister, or this brother, or whoever it is that's around you, and the person keeps taunting you about these things that are happening to you? What would you do? And the Bible goes to verse 7 and says, this went on year after year whenever Anna went up to the house of the Lord. However, provoked her till she wept and would not eat. So this is supposed to be like a celebration where everybody goes to worship. It's like you are enjoying the fact that God has been good to you all year round, and you're going to worship in Shiloh, and one person will just keep intimidating, will just keep making life miserable for you. And verse 8 says, Elkanah, her husband, will say, Anna, why are you weeping? Why don't you eat? Why are you downhearted? Don't I mean more to you than 10 sons? Now, can we just give Elkanah a round of applause? Like, can we just celebrate the life of Elkanah? Elkanah is the man. Because look at what has happened to Anna so far, right? Anna had lived that life where you feel like, okay, you know what? I don't have any children. I don't have any reason to eat. I don't have any reason to dance. I'm ready to always weep. But guess what Elkanah said? Elkanah didn't say, oh, you barren woman, see how you are. It's not the same things that I've been doing. And Penina said, The Bible says that he said, don't I mean more to you than 10 sons? Now, my brothers, my sisters, how well do you encourage your spouse when they're going through their downtime? Because if you break down this story, you know, I've never seen this story in this. Like, I just always think of it as Anna asked for a son, she had Samuel, she gave him back to God. I've never sat down to break down this and relate it to my day-to-day life. Do you understand? And look at it this way. He's saying that is enough for her to feel like this man is not even stressing my life, but I still need this child. But you know, he encouraged her. He was there every time, and he was always there for her. And verse 9 says, once they had finished eating and drinking in Shiloh, Anna stood up. Now Eli the priest was sitting on a chair by the doorpost of the Lord's temple. In bitterness of soul, Anna wept much and prayed to the Lord. Now, the first thing I had to write is, she felt neglected. She felt downcast. She felt overwhelmed. She felt like the world was turning against her. She felt like there was nothing good that was going to come out of her life just because she didn't have a child. And I think about it and I'm like, But see, one very good thing that I remember that Anna did in this verse 10 is that she came as she was. She wasn't interested in what was going on around her. She stood up, went to the temple, and with the bitterness in her soul, wept. Now, some of us will try to perform and say, you know what, I can't cry in public. But let me tell you, when those issues come to a place where you can't even try or dare to try to form, that's when you should be and you will be true to yourself. And be true to whatever it is that has been in your life. And that was what Hannah went through. She went through it, and guess what happened? In verse 11, and she made a vow saying, O Lord Almighty, if you will only look upon your servant's misery and remember me. Now, did she think God forgot her? God he never forgets any one of us. Never. So if you have ever been in Anna's state where you think that, oh God, you have forgotten me, know that for sure, that whatever it is you're passing through today, right now, God can never, has never forgotten you. Never. And not forget your servant, but give her a son. Then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life, and no razor shall be used on his head. Now, have you ever heard that before? Because the only person that you would think that prayer was made from about the razor was Samson. But in verse 11, we now know that they didn't allow a razor to get on his head. And she made a covenant. So the question I'll ask you is, that covenant you made to God or with God, have you redeemed it? That child that you say you give unto God, but that child is the reason why you don't even go to church anymore. Now, verse 12. As she kept on praying to the Lord, Eli observed her mouth. Now, what I would tell you is that don't be surprised when people watch you. People watch you. People are watching. When you come to church in that fine clothes and you're rolling on the floor and you're crying and you're talking to God about how miserable you feel. Some people are just there chilling and watching. They're watching. And guess what? Anna was praying, right? And Anna was praying in her heart and her lips were moving, but her voice was not heard. Eli thought she was drunk. Now, there are so many people that will have assumption. They will assume that they know what you are going through. They won't assume that something that you are going through is not what you are going through. Can you imagine? Someone is crying for a child. Guess what he's thinking of? He's thinking that she's drunk. How many times have you or have I actually seen people growing in their hearts or going through something and we're just thinking, what are you going through? And you judge in your heart. Let's not lie. We've all been there. We've all done it. So we can't lie to each other, right? And for me, when people think like that, when people have that kind of mentality, when people feel like they are assistant Holy Ghost and they know God than you, and they feel like they have your life figured out, it's not true. Because he was thinking she was drunk and Anna was praying in her heart. Like she couldn't even, you're like, that's how she was praying. In her heart, she was groaning, she was crying, she was in pain. Like, I don't know how else to put how she was going through, right? And this guy was just in one corner thinking, this woman must have shocked something. She must have shacked something for her to think this way. Shack K. Someone that has not even thought of giving. You understand? She the pain she's going through can never make her think of alcohol. And he now said to her, how long will you keep on getting drunk? Get rid of your wine. Assumption. Even now open his mouth, I even said it. You know, if it's in the pain of the pain, you first even hit in the blow that You even ask me, madam, what's going on with you? Madam, what's going on with you? But no. How will you say? You are drunk. Get rid of the wine. Did you see wine bottle around me? Commissioner of information to heaven. You're the one that knows that I'm drunk. You're the one that knows that I'm not spiritual. How many times have we done that as Christians? Now. And she said, not so, my Lord. Anna replied, I'm a woman who is deeply troubled. I have not been drinking wine or beer. I was pouring out my soul to the Lord. Do not take your servant for a wicked woman. I have been praying here out of the great anguish and grief. Now, people, let me tell you the truth. Just like I said earlier, be true to your emotions. If you're going through something and you feel like it's devastating, it's heart-wrecking, like, be true to your emotions. If you need to cry, it's okay to cry. It's okay to tear your clothes. It's okay to roll on the floor. It's okay to express how you really feel before God. Because if you go back to the lyrics of that song, you can create all this for other people. But will you be proud if I perform for you? God will not be proud. He doesn't need a performance. He needs you to be true to how you really feel about that situation, about that burden, about what you're going through. He just needs you to be true to your feeling. So if you want to cry, if you've been asking God for something for years and He has not done it, and you need to cry, or you need to lock yourself in the house, or you need to roll on the floor, or you need to just do it. You don't need to create a facade for other people. You don't need to form that. Don't you know who I am? You don't need to do that. And Eli said, go in peace, and may the Lord God of Israel grant you what you have asked of him. Now for me, I want to first think that Eli should have even apologized. That I'm sorry for assuming. And if I'm the one, like if I was the one that had assumed that she was drunk, I would have actually apologized. It's okay to say, I'm sorry for assuming that you did this. But what did he do instead? What he did was still great. He actually encouraged her in prayer. Yes, so as pastors, as leaders, when people come to you with their problems, with stuff they're going through, what do? Do you first judge them before they open their mouth? Or do you actually just open up and say, you know what, God, or brother, my sister, I'm sorry for actually thinking that you just didn't like us, that's why you didn't come for fellowship, or you didn't come to church, or that's why you've not been talking. Don't think that way. And she said, may your servant find favor in your eyes. Then she went her way and ate something, and her face was no longer downcast. Now the truth is that when you actually pour out your heart sincerely to God, He just takes away that burden, He takes away that pain, it takes away that whatever it is that you think you've been going through. It's like it's been lifted because you've come sincerely. You've come with all your emotion and you've poured it at the cross. You've just been sincere. And you know the thing about God is that He listens. Verse 19 says that early the next morning, right? They arose and worshipped before the Lord, and then went back to their home at Ramah. Elkanah lay with Anna, his wife, and the Lord remembered her. So do you think that God ever forgets? No. God has never no matter what you're going through, God can never forget you. He can never. And the Lord remembered her. And guess what in verse 20? And the course of the time Anna conceived and gave birth to a son, and she named him Samuel, saying, because I asked of him from God. So because I asked the Lord for him. Now, you would think in your heart that, oh, Anna would forget that promise, nah. She had an understanding of the covenant she made to God. And verse 21 said, when the man Elkanah went up with all his family to offer the annual sacrifice to the Lord and fulfill his vow, Anna did not go. She said to her husband, after the boy is weaned, I will take him and present him before the Lord, and he will live there always. Now she understood that she had made a covenant with God, and she understood that it was time to give what she had said she was going to give unto God. So don't make a covenant and not do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And guess what Elkanah said that really made me happy. He didn't say, hey, my son, you want to give who? What do you mean? Elkanah said in verse 23, do what seems best to you. Stay here until you have weaned him. Only may the Lord make good his word. So the woman stayed at home and nursed the son until she had weaned him. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking that an average spouse would probably discourage her, talk down on her. We have not been able to have a son for years. And you're trying to give somebody, He didn't do that. He encouraged her. He knew the Lord. He understood what making a covenant, because even you will see that even when he makes a covenant, he redeems his vow. And after he was weaned, you see, immediately, she took the boy with her, young as it was, along with a 3.5-year-old bull, an ephah of flour and a skin of wine, and brought him to the house of the Lord in Shiloh. When they slaughtered the bull, they brought the boy to Eli, and she said to him, as surely as you live, my love, I'm the woman who stood here beside you praying to the Lord. I prayed for this child, and the Lord had granted me what I asked of him. So now I give him to the Lord. For his whole life he'll be given over to the Lord, and he'll worship the Lord here. Now, you will understand that Anna had an understanding of God. Now the question you'll be asking is it possible that Elkanah did not remember her? Is it like Elkanah did not understand? But the truth is, Eli is human. Eli is like our pastors. They go through thousands and thousands and thousands of members. Thousands. They even have non-church members that become members to them. And guess what? She was able to humbly just say, prophets, let me remind you who I am. This is the woman that did this, that did this, that did this. And today I'm coming back to redeem this vow. And I'm coming to give this child back unto you. Now, if you go back to the beginning of that story, and if you go back to the lyrics we read a couple of minutes ago, you would understand that Anna did not perform. She didn't create a facade. She didn't create anything that will make her untrue to her emotions. She was true. So in what way have you made other people feel, you know what, I'm too cool, this church is too cool, no. You know, we do that a lot. We do that a lot. Where we actually literally form for God. We create a performance because we don't want people to look at us as uncool. Oh, so if you're part of those SU, you don't want to hear that. And that's the truth. We do it a lot. I was sharing a story one day, and I said that I remember one time I went to this church in Ibadan, and For me, when I was going to that church, I wore something very nice. I can't remember what exactly I wore, but I was like, you know what, I'll be in this church. It's my first time. I just wanted to, like, my friend had invited me to the church several times. So I'm like, you know what, let me actually just even see what this church is about. So I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm going to, like, put on my best dress. I'm going to make sure that I'm, like, I had already figured out how I'm going to, like, sit down. Even if they call first timers, I was not going to stand up. I didn't want the embarrassment or, like, to be shy. I'd already planned my service unto God. Literally, I had planned it so that when they say first timers, I'll probably go to the washroom when they were about to call first timers, so I don't stand up. Then when they're doing their worship, I'll just be in one corner. You know how we do now? We just plan everything. And I remember that day, there was this pastor of mine, who's now my pastor friend, and he came to preach in that church, and that was my first time meeting him. And guess what? By the time he started worship, guys, I was on the floor, rolling, crying. Should I use the word flat? But I was out of that performance zone where I'd already told myself I was going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to act like this. I was out of it. Totally out of it. And by the time Pastor Kelly would say, when the Lord just messes you up, when you just think that, oh, I have everything, I'm cool, I'm collected, you know, you just see yourself on the floor, rolling, crying, and you're like, what? Is it me? Is it really me? And you know, that day, it changed my mindset about worship. It changed my mindset about when I'm in God's presence, I give my best and I pour out my heart. You know when we sing the song, I give myself away? Most of us don't understand that song. We don't understand that song. It's not just giving yourself away as literal as just pam. It's literal giving yourself away, that when God says he wants to do his work, he wants to he wants to be God. You don't have any choice. You just have to. You just have to. And you give yourself away not because of what men will say or what men will do or what men will think. You give yourself away because you want him to use you. So it means that when you give yourself away, you're just pouring yourself out without restraint. And that's how God wants us to come before him. That when you come, because he already knows the content of your heart, you don't have to form for him to say, you know, God, everything has been fine. I don't need anything. I just come to worship you. God is saying if you have to cry, and it's okay to cry, both for male and for female. And in chapter 2, then Anna prayed and said, my heart rejoices in the Lord. In the Lord my hand is lifted high. My mouth boasts over my enemies, for I delight in your deliverance. There is none holy as our God. There is none beside thee. There is no rock like our God. Do not keep talking so proudly, or let your man speak such arrogance. For the Lord is a God who knows, and by his deeds, and by him deeds are weighed. The bows of the warriors are broken, but those who stumbled are harmed with strength. Those who were full hire themselves out for food, but those who are hungry no more. She who was barren has borne 7 children, but she who had many sons pines away. The Lord brings death and makes alive. He brings down to the grave and raises up. The Lord sends poverty and wealth. He humbles and he exalts. He raises the poor from the dust, and he lifts the needy from the ash heap. He sits them with princes, and has them inherit a throne of honor. For the foundation of the earth are the Lord's. On them he has set the world. He will guard the feet of his faithful servants, but the wicked will be silenced in the place of darkness. It is not by strength that one prevails. Those who oppose the Lord will be broken. The Most High will thunder from heaven. The Lord will judge the ends of the earth. He will give strength to his king and exalt the horn of his anointed. Now, if you read that chapter 2 from verse 1 to 10, you understand that you understand who God is, and you have a better revelation of the person of God, and understand that you don't have to be in a royal lineage or be from a rich home or be in association with rich people before God exalts you. He said the poor will be the one that will inherit the throne. How does that happen? Someone that's not even in the lineage. Look at the life of Job. Job was that kind of guy also that will not perform, where he will just go all out, and when he was in pain, he will cry out. Look at David. Look at those people that God specially did special things for them in the Bible. Look at them. There was no performance to them. David will come and say, "Oh, my soul," or come and say, "Oh Lord, why have you forsaken your son?" David was that guy that will just come and be true to whatever he was going through and pour his heart out to God. Now, not that God doesn't know what you're going through, don't get me wrong, but he wants you to actually just give yourself away and be true to how you feel. So I don't know, maybe you think that time is going, I've been through a lot, I'm going through so much pain, I don't know what you've been through, guys. My brothers, my sisters, my mommies, my aunties, my daddies, my uncles, wherever you are. I don't know what you're looking at God's face for. But the truth is, he always remembers. He never forgets. He never sleeps. He never slumbers. And all he wants from you is just come as you are. Lay everything before him. Be true to how you feel. If you need to cry, if you need to tell your friends, I am not talking to you for today, I just want to have time with God, do it. If you need to get off social media to be able to figure things out, do it. A lot of things help when we grow in our walk in our pursuit for God. His word never fails. He has promised he will never fail. And he said, it is not by strength that anyone prevails. So don't say, I have connections. I have secured the bag. I know the right people. I have everything. I can do bad all by myself. You can't. Because it's only God that can exalt you. It's only God that can lift you up. Not by power, not by might. It's not by how many extra hours or overtime you do at work. When he said he will provide all your needs, he didn't say, for the Lord shall supply sometimes some of our needs. No. The scripture says, for the Lord shall supply all, everything you need. Remember that wants are insatiable. A lot of our wants are things that we actually don't need. But God is saying that everything you need, I will supply. I will supply all your needs. So why can't you trust that same God? Why can't you look back at those little testimonies where you were sick and he healed you? When you were going through things and he actually came through for you. Why haven't you even sat down and thought about it? Why do you think that, this one thing that you have gone through is the biggest thing and you can never come out of it? Nah. That's not how he works. When he promises, he never fails. He never fails. I'm going to round up this session with a song that I listened when I was in law school, and I remember that it blessed my life. The song is, he know they fail, he doesn't fail. Man will fail, man will still fail, but this God never fails. He never fails. So as you round up, or you start this month, or you think that, oh, I have actually gone through a lot, I don't think I can get through anything else. Let me tell you, what he's saying right now is that man will fail, man will still fail, but this God never fails. This God never fails.
You know the fellow, you know the fellow. Man go fail, man go still they fail, but this God know the fellow. I go open up my mouth, not go too much if I shout. I go blow on loud and loud on every hill and every man. East to west, north to south, every corner on the back. I go talk a master B and I go hide myself. Cause to see enter my life, things turn around. You might see that they see everything all around. Oh, cause I'm now not a fail. Everything fits fail, but this God not a fail. You know the fellow, you know the fellow. Man go fail, man go still they fail, but this God not a fail. You know the fellow, you know the fellow. Man go fail, man go still they fail, but this God not a fail. It's a make I cool my temper, make I the one should be God and master. Since that they answer my prayer, you know they tire, cause you know they sleep, you know they slumber. Hey, let them show their power, then they go show me superpower. In promises not they fail, everything fit you, this God not they fail. You know the fellow, you know the fellow. Mango still they fail, but this God not they fail. You know the fellow, you know the fellow. Mango still they fail, but this God not they fail. How about God, you know they fail, you know they fail, oh, you know they fail. Oh, Papa God, you know they fail, you know they fail, you know they fail. Papa God, you know they fail, you know they fail. You were soon for me, God. You know they fail, oh. You know they fail, oh. You know they fail, yeah. You know they fail, oh. You know they fail, oh. Mango still they fail, but this God know they fail, oh. No. You know they fail, oh. Mango fail. See my papa fail, oh. Hey, God know they go holiday. You know don't sleep, no don't slumber. God, you know they fail. You know they fail, oh. You know they fail, oh. Still they fail. God, you know they fail. You know they fail, oh. This God knows. You know they fail, oh. You know they fail, oh. Mango still they fail. This God know they fail, oh. You know they fail, oh. You know they fail, oh. Mango still they fail. This God know they fail, oh.
He doesn't fail, people. He doesn't fail. Man will fail, man will still fail, but this God doesn't fail. And like we read in 1 Samuel chapter 1 and 2, we saw how God came through for Anna, and we saw how much she gave herself away and was able to be vulnerable in God's presence, and was able to give God her best, was able to pour out her heart to God and say, God, just do this for me. Just listen to the cry of your servant. And you know what? He doesn't fail. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You start again on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. He never fails. He never fails. So if you haven't even listened to anything throughout today, throughout this week, throughout this month, throughout this year, maybe you've been discouraged, maybe you've been let down, maybe you failed exams, maybe you've lost jobs, maybe you've lost a child or a spouse or parent, he will always come through for you. He doesn't fail. He doesn't fail. He's a God that never fails. He might look tough right now. He might look like you've been abandoned. He might look like everything is coming down and all hell is let loose. But know that he doesn't fail. He can never leave you. He can never forsake you. He keeps watch over those he loves. And know that he loves you from the bottom of your heart, from the bottom of his heart. So my brothers, my sisters, my friends, and everyone watching me this morning, I'm sure that if you haven't even, or if you're not going home with anything, go home with the fact that God never fails. God never fails. He always comes through for us. And no matter what you're going through, no matter what you've been through, know that he will come through for you. So thank you very much for watching today's episode of Life Matters with Anu Adedire. Know that you can watch or rewatch on Facebook and on Instagram and also on our YouTube channel at Anu Adedire. And don't forget that we have a podcast that runs Life Matters with Anu Adedire. The podcast runs on Castbox, Deezer, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Just search Life Matters with Anu Adedire and you'll be able to watch all our previous episodes, and I know that you're going to love it. So from me to you today, know that God knows they fail. So let that be your hashtag for this month, for this year 2020. God knows they fail. God bless you. Till I see you next week, I celebrate you. May the Lord be with you, and may he cause his face to shine upon you, and may he always listen and hear your cry in the name of Jesus. Understand that God's timing isn't your timing. Understand that once he says he will do it, he never goes back on his word. And that's one thing you have to hold on. Don't forget to study your scriptures daily. Don't forget to hold on to his word daily. Don't forget that when he promises, he doesn't fail. He know they fail. He never fails. And if he can come through for Anna, if he can come through for Job, if he can come through for David, if he can come through for each and every one of you in those days, remember those miracles he did, remember those testimonies you shared, he will come through for you. God bless you. Till I see you next week, I celebrate you, and I pray that God will continue to be with you and cause his face to shine upon you. In Jesus' name. Bye.